Episode 12 of the Planet Nintendo podcast. So, today on the menu for today, we have the good and the bad of 2017, Zelda DLC, is it worth it, and should you pick it up right now? And the new Nvidia Nintendo games, is that hinting towards Virtual Console? Let's get it started. Episode 12! What is up, guys? We have a packed show today, and maybe a few surprises. Who knows? It's the
big question
December.
Mark right now?
Yeah, big question mark. Okay, so what is up, guys? I feel like a lot has been going on. Big game came out, Xenoblade. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit. Have you guys been able to dive more into it? Joe?
Oh man, I'm still on chapter 3, the beginning, just grinding. I've got 12 hours logged of just grinding at this point and leveling up. I on purpose. This is all intentional. I just don't care about advancing into the story until I'm like at a level that I'm just unnecessarily OP, that I'm like, okay, I can breeze through a couple of these chapters without, having a struggle here. No choke points for this guy right here.
How are you enjoying it, though, compared to, like, other... You played the first one, right?
No, I didn't play any of them. I do own now Chronicles X, and I had 3D, but I didn't, like, full-on go into it. This one, I'm really digging. Like I was talking about it last week, the battle system took me a minute to get used to in terms of, like, the auto, because I'm so used to, like, just tapping A to actually do my own attacks, but it works out really well. You focusing on your specials. I do have some core, I forget what they're called. The core. Oh God, Bobby, help me out. The core, whatever, for the drivers.
Bobby, have you been able to?
Like Pokemon.
I see. Bobby, have you been able to play this at all?
Oh man, yeah. I'm in love with this game. This game is. It's a shame it came out so late because I think it could have been a contender for Game of the Year. It's really, really good, man. The story is out of this world. The cutscenes are amazing. The voice acting is spot on. Like, it is a really, really good game, and I am so happy with it. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm just like, this game is just so much love went into this game. I love every second of it.
I do hope they come with a chapter 1 demo, because I feel like that chapter alone should be enough to get people that are really scared about jumping into that game a chance to really understand what's going on. Plus that final cutscene leading into chapter 2
is to be like, okay, I want to find out what happens. Yeah.
Oh my God, what a way to set up the game.
The game is actually reviewing pretty well for a JRPG. I mean, I think it's like at an 85 right now, 84. Yeah. Which is actually pretty good. I mean, if you compare it to like Odyssey and stuff, it's kind of low, but like for a JRPG, it's a pretty good score. Thing I wanted to ask you guys is, I know that this year there were some games that came out last year, like late, that were up for certain awards. Could this possibly go up for some awards for next year?
Nah, I think people just forget about it. It's so late in the year. I mean, there's still some late Game of the Year awards that are still to be announced, because some companies do it like early January. But as far as like the big notoriety ones, the time has passed. Like, IGN should have theirs out in a week or so. This isn't going to be on the list. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, but IGN's doing like something where I guess the fans can vote too, and it's like, they're putting, like, they have so many games. They're putting every game of the year, every single game that is available up for people to vote for. So we'll see. But I think that people forget about it. It's just like, it is what it is, and that's fine. I mean, it stinks to some degree, but for me personally, I'm just happy that this game is so good. There was a lot of people nervous about it when it first got announced, and we started doing everything that we did with it. But man, it's really on. It's really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. I've literally put like an hour and a half into it. Unfortunately, just because I've been playing so much, and I got sucked into to NBA 2K. I'm a sports video game. Like it just sucks me in. But I do have some games that I'm looking forward to. I think by the time this comes out, Mutant Mudds and Yooka-Laylee will both be out. Dude, I'm pumped, man.
If you're listening to this, today is the day. Go get Mudds. Like this game is, comes out Thursday the 14th. Which sadly, if you're listening to this, you've probably missed the pre-purchase thing. I bought 2 copies. I bought one for me, one for Tony. Totally took advantage of that sale and got us both a copy of it.
Ditto.
I'm
yeah. And you can still get the book too.
Joe got the book
on Amazon.
How is that book?
It's cool. It's cool. It goes through the history. Well, not so much the history, but it's got it's got all the concept art and everything there. It goes through all the stages of both of the games, which is pretty dope. Yeah. And then in the back end, it starts going through all the characters you unlock, which is dope, and the review scores and all that stuff.
That's awesome. It's a good book.
Pretty legit, dude.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I've been binging some Super Challenge lately because I never even played that game. I never even played the original one, so I'm excited for it. And I think that'll be perfect. That's the perfect console for this game.
Yeah.
And then Yooka-Laylee. I know some of you aren't really
question. What was the price on the other consoles for that game? I didn't realize it was $40. Not that I I mind or anything like that. I'm just curious if they did the
Switch. It did start at 40 on others.
Okay, it did. I wasn't sure.
I'm not rewarding bad development.
I mean, we could segue into your game, WWE 2K.
I'm not buying that either.
God!
No, I didn't buy it either.
Here's my thing: if you're not going to be transparent and explain what's going on, then I don't. Why should I give you my money? You know what I mean?
That's terrible.
You don't tell us anything at all. With WWE, it's even worse because that game was supposed to launch day and date with the other ones. It doesn't happen. They don't say a word about it at all. They don't tell anybody what's going on. They just don't do anything. There's people that canceled the you gotta be kidding me. Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now?
Oh boy. Is someone calling?
Hold on.
Bring him on in, man.
Hold on. I gotta add him. Hold on. You gotta be kidding me. Hold on. How did you pull this off? Hold on.
I don't know.
Hold on. Lee.
Oh, this is...
Tell him. Hold on.
You said you didn't answer.
Tell him I'm going to add him to the call. Just to relax. There he is. He's here now.
There we go.
Bobby!
Oh, this guy.
You made it, Josh.
I'm back, Bobby.
How is this possible?
Put up the template for 4 people, Bobby.
I am. It's going up. It's going up.
You know, I didn't want to guess it, but I was going to say, I was like, is it Josh Thomas? Is it?
Oh, boy.
Josh,
here we go.
You were the first guest.
I've come to bring my spirit of Christmas joy.
Wait, of all people, you bring this idiot in with the Christmas hat and Santa Claus hat, the tree in the background, Frosty. Oh, my God.
2 of us are matching. 2 of us have the Christmas spirit. Mm-hmm. I can say.
Know, right? Oh man!
Okay, God.
I got
Bobby, you've changed. Huh? Okay, you changed the setup, Bobby.
I did change the setup. I moved the whole room around. I just, I don't know. I needed more room. I couldn't do anything. So now Tony and I are going to actually put 2 side-by-side chairs there, so in front of the 2 TVs that we have side by side, so we can game together and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more room. It's a little more roomy. I got to do something with this electrical panel, but other than that, that's. How are you doing, Josh? It's been a while.
I'm so happy to talk with these boys. What a complete 180 this has been.
You ain't kidding. It's a Christmas miracle.
The Christmas miracle.
Josh is a big fan of this show.
Is he?
I love this show. There's one episode in particular that I love. It's my favorite episode. I was mentioned a couple times in it, and I thought, that's fun.
It was a different Josh Thomas.
Okay, that explains a lot. Then that explains a lot about my Twitter feed and everything. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
The awkwardness, I love it.
There's no awkwardness. It's fine. Listen, what you don't know is Josh contacted me the other morning and told me that he's ready to forgive me now. After all. Well,
no, these weren't the exact words, Bobby. The exact words were, "I'm ready to forgive you, but I want my butt kissed."
Yeah, you did say that. You did say that.
You can do that.
What do you mean I can do that? Don't tell me what I can do, what I can't do.
Oh man!
Look it.
But now. Wait a minute. Did we reveal that I actually sent a message to NintenTalk and I was like, you know what? I want to ambush Bobby on the podcast. I want to pop in.
Yeah, how did this happen? I want to know about this. How did this happen?
Well, you were on a live stream of mine the other night, and you're like, Josh, we got to get you on a podcast. And I was like, okay, you know what we should do? If you're doing one with Bobby, then I'll just pop in all of a sudden, and then that'll work out. Catch him off guard.
You did that. I'm thinking, who the hell? I'm thinking to myself, who does this idiot know that could come on and just he's going to add a guest out of nowhere like this? I never in a million years expected you of all people.
Well, listen, I've got the itinerary here, and I'm ready to talk about Nintendo with you boys, if that's okay.
I even sent him the game plan. Like he's ready, man.
I'm ready.
So do we? Okay, well, wait a minute. Do we? Should we discuss what went down before, or we let it go?
We can talk about it a little bit. I'm more than happy to get that out of it. Okay. Let's talk about it.
Okay. So essentially, for those, let's catch everybody at the speed. Jules Watcham, who is a friend of mine, he announced Mutant Mud's collection, and for some reason, at the time, my other friend, Josh Thomas, just decides to blow his mind and just start exploding on Twitter. And
I remember this story much differently.
So it was bothering me. It was rubbing me the wrong way. And I just happened to, as the tweets are coming through, we get ready to go live for this show. And I was just like, okay. And Patrick was just like, what do you think, Bobby? Let's talk about it. And I was like, he just wanted to see the controversy. And
for 20 minutes, he ripped my heart out, ladies and gentlemen. Ranted about me for 20 minutes. It was like when a puppy comes up to you and you just hit the puppy, and the puppy's like, I don't get it. Well, I thought he loved me.
Here's the thing. I did send you a message that you totally ignored.
You did.
I said
I read it.
Yeah, but I did say at that moment, I said, Josh, I want you to know I do love you. This has nothing to do with you personally. This is not a personal attack. And I'm expecting you to attack me back, and I'm fully ready for it. I said, but I just didn't. I feel like you were saying stuff that you were a little out of line in saying, and I felt like somebody needed to say something.
Okay.
And then you blocked me and didn't say nothing, and I was like, "The hell just happened, man? I didn't even get an F you." He just totally had. So okay, so from your perspective, what went down?
Here's my perspective. Yeah. So I love Nintendo. Mm-hmm. I like the Switch, and I feel that there have been a lot of ports, which I'm not personally hugely excited about. I think you guys, I watched the episode, you guys like the ports and stuff, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't like or what you can't buy. But just from my perspective, when I buy a new Nintendo system, I want fresh, new, exciting things. Right when it's out, that's when I want it the most for me. I feel like ports are best suited maybe a year or two down the line when all the stuff they made for the launch is out there, and now we've got a gap. I feel like ports are to fill a gap. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Switch has a lot of ports on it. There's actually a really good video on YouTube. I wish I remembered the man's name. His name is Andrew. He put together a video where he literally showed every game for the Switch, and I think 75% of the library are games that are available on other systems. Yeah. And I think it's 13% is exclusive to the Switch, which for me, I feel like you got to get the number up higher for the exclusives. Yeah. So with Mutant Mud's being announced, I felt a little bit like, well, here's another one added to the pile that was available on another thing. Yeah. I actually do like Jules, contrary to what you guys might think. I like him. I do. You did mention, Bobby, that like you had said, how can you not like Mutant Mudds if you gave it a 10? And now to clarify that, I don't hate Mutant Mudds. I it was a fun game. I do think though that it hasn't aged as well as some other games maybe have. Games don't always age very well. And for me, what made Mutant Mudds so special was the time that it was released, it was like one of the few games that was really embracing 3D on the 3DS. And it actually, just in total, it's one of the few games that embraced 3D in the whole system's life. So to me, that was like, oh, wow, this is cool. I can point to this game as being a use of 3D with the layers. And even in the gameplay, you jump back and forth. Yes. So I feel like when you take that off that 3D screen, it really kind of loses a lot of what I personally felt made it special. And since then, I do feel like we have gotten a lot of 2D platformers, a lot of 2D side-scrolling games, and the bar has been raised really high from other developers, even indie developers, not just Nintendo. And so that's how I personally feel like, well, I don't probably think it's a 10 anymore. Yeah. Now, I will say, when it comes out, I actually am going to play it, because I'm actually mostly interested in the puzzle game that comes with it, Mud Blocks, right? Yes. So I'm interested in that, because it's basically Bomb Monkey. That is like a kind of a retexturing of Bomb. And Bomb Monkey, oddly enough, is my favorite Renegade Kid / a 2E game. Okay. So to play that with another person, I think... Are you putting down Bomb Monkey? And I won't stand for that.
There's a lot of good 2E games, man.
Well, Bomb Monkey's fun, though. A little monkey and puzzle. Yeah, I like that. But anyways, hopefully that clarifies it. Not to go on with this too much, but hopefully that clarifies it.
Okay. Well, from my perspective, I apologize for coming off a little too harsh. It was a knee-jerk reaction. I did try to correct it by messaging you privately. I just didn't expect you to block me. I expect you to be like, let's talk about this, or let's you just shut me down. And I was like, damn, like what the hell? So, but it's all right. It's all good.
That's how you learn your lesson, Bobby. It's tough love.
Patrick, you and I are going to have a conversation after this.
I'm going to get blocked by him now.
Patrick was so... The other two fellas were so sweet in that video. Maybe it was just by comparison.
Well, you know what it was? Because I rightfully... I don't know if rightfully so. I felt like I had an axe to grind to some degree.
Okay.
Not really an axe to grind. That's the wrong phrase. I felt like I was defending Jules. And that's, it'd be no different than, because here's something that you don't see from the backside. I've had people, when I brought you on my show, NintenTalk Live, the one time, I had people legitimately, I have a Facebook group as well, that like attacked me for having you on. And was like, how could you do this? Yeah, man. Yeah, it was bad.
Me? Controversial?
It was bad. So I defended you to the hilt, and I basically like kicked those people out of the group and all that. And I'm like, so I would defend you in the same way if I felt like you needed to be defended. I just felt like in this particular situation, you were wrong, but I probably shouldn't have got involved. That's probably what I should have done. I should have just stayed.
Hopefully my clarification shows where my head was more, and that it wasn't meant to be a personal attack on Jules or anybody that likes the games. Yeah. I'm just ready for the new, fresh, exciting things. Jules, Treasure Knots. I've been waiting for Treasure Knots since I was in the womb. That game needs to get going. I want Treasure Knots.
It'll be here this year. 2018. It'll be in 2018. That's for sure.
Well, hopefully. I'm looking forward to it.
It will be. Okay, Jesus, good God. Go ahead, Patrick. Get on with the show.
See, Bobby, didn't you miss me, Bobby? Come on.
Listen, I love you, man. I consider you a good friend. I was upset when you bailed. I was like, F this guy. You know what I mean? Like, well, how could he do that? Like, and then the worst thing, the salt in the wound. This is the salt in the wound. He doesn't block my wife. They're having conversations on Twitter, and I'm like...
She's so nice.
I'm like, this SOB blocks me and keeps her. Like, what the hell, man?
She's so sweet. She loves Disney. She's nice to me. Listen, look to your wife and be nicer like your wife. Yeah. Your wife's a good example.
So, I know Bobby knows this, but... So, Josh, you announced that you were going to be on Bobby's show, like, this was maybe like summer, like early summer. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? And of course I wanted to tune in.
Meaning me.
Because I watch your... because I watch your channel and stuff. So I went over there, and that's how I found Bobby. So you two are, like, connected with me personally. And, like, I don't know. We had to get this out of the way.
It was like parents fighting. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It was like,
I want my daddy back.
And Joe doesn't do anything. Joe just sits there with that beautiful smile, just sitting there like
he's like, yeah.
He's like, right. Whatever, man. He's like, just look at my game. Hey. Flipping through the games. That's all he does.
Yeah. I'm convinced that this man has a completely different eShop than I have. All those games that you showed on that screen, I don't know where those came from. But every time I go to the eShop, I'm always, I don't know what to buy. I've been burned a few times.
He's got more games than anything. Like, he gets all the games for free. He's just...
No, I don't.
A good portion of them. A good portion lately.
I'd say about 5 of those are free.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I need your job. And your...
We'll kind of get into that in a bit, but we were actually just segueing over to the Game Awards because I wanted to kind of... We're still in the intro here, but I kind of wanted to get your guys' feel on the Game Awards. I'll start with Joe. Not anything in particular, like not announcements or anything, just like overall, how did you feel? This actually was like one of the first ones that I've actually watched, so kind of just want to get your take on like what you saw.
Yes, I mean, going all the way, like Jeff Keighley went on and said that this was the 4th one, but he's been part of so many more. I mean, going back to Spike TV, and being able to see like how that's changed over the years, even going back to the one that was like the VGX that he had called it, and he was just in the room with Joel from Community, which that was just a god-awful one. That was a painful one to watch, personally. It's changed so much, and it's shown how far the gaming industry has come. I feel like this one I felt was pretty solid and showed a pretty good wide range of like awards on the actual show. Of course, we don't get to see all the awards won, but they do announce like, you know, some of the companies that have gone up to win something, what else they won throughout that day, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There were some weird ones in there that I felt like, oh, that school one, that was pretty cool, but I didn't know any of the games in there, so kind of giving them that recognition there of like, you know, here's the nominees for these games. I was like, I have no idea what the hell this is. Some of them were really heartfelt. What's the people from Hellblade? That was a really touching speech. Just overall, I thought it was a pretty good moment, except for there was that weird guy that went on way too long.
Totally went off, yeah.
Who, Joseph Ferris or whatever his name is?
I think so, yeah.
That dude was awesome.
He was good, but I was like, okay, I think this is gone. This was the point that it gone a little too long.
Yeah,
you guys think that was legit, or you think that was a little scripted?
If you watched him during E3, he's off the rails, man.
Yeah,
he's definitely off the rails. So yeah, that was good. It was good stuff. For me, I felt like it's a little long. 3 hours is a little long. But I do feel like they're getting to the point now where they're filling a lot of that with exclusives. This year felt a lot better than last year in terms of like exclusive announcements. I loved the Bayonetta port that got announced.
Here we go.
In all honesty, like I love Bayonetta. I was glad that they're bringing it to Switch. But it was followed up with Bayonetta 3, so that's exciting news. You know what I mean? Like
that's how you should announce it.
Yeah, that game, sadly, because it was on the Wii U, not a lot of people played it. And I feel like now maybe a lot of people actually buy it and play it because it's a really good game across the board. So, but otherwise, I thought it was good. I mean, a Wii U game won Game of the Year. That was pretty awesome.
There you go.
So you can't go wrong with that.
The year of the Wii U.
That was it. What did you think, Josh?
And yeah,
I love the idea that there's like a legitimate professional game awards. You know, I don't think a lot of people would, you know, just the average person would probably think, oh, why would there be a award show for video games? But I think it really shows why there should be. And there's so many talented people involved with creating games, and to just have something that's so extravagant and so well produced, I think is just really awesome. And I do think it's better than the Oscars. It's way more interesting than the Oscars.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I do agree 3 hours is a bit long, especially when I think a lot of people watching it are like, I can't wait to see about the reveals. You know, a lot of people are watching it for the awards, but you're also watching it like waiting for somebody to reveal something.
Yeah.
So I think with 3 hours, it's a bit much. And what's weird is with 3 hours, they're still like, oh, by the way, here's a bunch of awards that we're giving, but we're not giving them now. These are just people won these. Yeah. So in 3 hours, you still can't fit everything. It seems odd. But overall, I just think it's a really great thing. I think we're kind of fortunate to have that. I think Jeff Keighley does an incredible job on that.
Yeah.
Sure. That
for me,
it was
kind of yeah. For me, it was kind of weird pacing wise. Like they would announce certain awards, and then they'd be like, "Oh, by the way, this got one, this got one, this got one," and then it was like a weird reveal. Like it didn't really seem organized to me, but it seemed like substantial. Like this is like legit now. The DLC for Zelda, I don't know about the bike. That's kind of a weird subject for me. We're actually going to get to that later. But Zelda winning Game of the Year, that was kind of, I've been calling that since even after Mario came out. To me, it's just not really that close for me.
Today,
but it was cool to see.
Today, when I recorded the Gaming Gurus with Sean and Toby, Sean made an analogy. It's like in Terminator 2 when the Terminator's going down into the lava. That's the Wii U, except it's just giving the middle finger as it goes down into the lava.
I like that. But yeah, overall, good job, Jeff Keighley. So yeah, we're gonna go to our next part, and it's a little game that we play. Bobby and Joe know the game. It's over or under. So I'm gonna explain this to Josh. Basically, I give a percentage and a scenario, and you're gonna have to say whether that percentage is too high or too low, and kind of give your little spiel on it. So.
Okay.
They don't know these scenarios at all. So these are just kind of ones that I make up and tell them on the spot. So I will start with the first one, and I will start with you, Josh. So,
okay, I'm ready.
25% chance Bayonetta 3, I mean, assuming it comes out, is the top-selling game in 2018 out of the 2018 games that come out for Nintendo.
25% chance of that. I would say lower.
Lower?
Lower.
And
yes.
Okay. So what do you think would be like?
Well, because I think there's definitely a lot of people who enjoy Bayonetta, but I think it is still a rather niche franchise. It definitely has a history of struggling for the most part. I think a lot of Platinum games are made in a very eccentric way to where they kind of find their niche, and that's about it. And I also think that 2018 is going to probably have a lot of big heavy hitters from Nintendo. I know that we have Zelda and we have Mario, but I think, if Animal Crossing comes out in 2018, that's going to be the dominant release. Mm-hmm. I think I'll be honest with you. I think even like Pikmin 4 could probably outperform Bayonetta just because it has more of a mainstream appeal. We're getting a Yoshi and a Kirby game. I think those will outperform Bayonetta. So I think that it would be a really tough year for Bayonetta to perform better than 25%, you said? Or at about 20, or it is the 25% chance that it would be one of the top selling games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be lower than that personally.
Bobby?
I think it's 0% because I don't think we get it in 2018. I think it's a 2019 game. I think that we'll get the 2-pack in 2018. In 2019 is when we'll see this game. I don't think this game is in development. I think it's just starting development maybe a couple months ago. I don't think that Platinum's been doing a lot of stuff like Nier and all these different games. Like they don't have the time, I don't think, to dive into a Bayonetta at this moment. They might have been working on it slowly, but let's just say, for argument's sake, it does get released in 2018.
Yeah, assuming it does.
I think it's probably 10%, because if you got to think too, like there's the rumor of Smash hitting in 2018. If that happens, that'll be the top seller. Unless, like Josh says, if Animal Crossing hits, I think Animal Crossing will light up.
Joe, you saving this or no? You going with the majority?
No, I'm not saving this one. I'd say 0% even in 2018, and this is coming from the guy who loves Bayonetta. Hack and slash beat 'em ups are a very niche genre. Yeah. Bayonetta is a very niche character, and even if we do get Bayonetta 3 in 2018, which I hope we do, because I will be playing the crap out of that game. I just don't see it, especially with what Josh was just saying before. Kirby, Yoshi, Fire Emblem Switch coming out, maybe a Pokemon game coming out. There's a ton of other Nintendo titles that have yet to be announced that'll probably be coming out for the Switch in 2018. I just don't see it up there in like the top 5 with the ones that I just named there.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of nice that Bayonetta belongs pretty much to Nintendo now, though. Yeah. I thought that was cool. All right, we'll start with Bobby this time. 50% chance Nintendo gets a Game of the Year award nominee for next year.
I think it's a pretty good chance we'll get a Game of the Year nominee. But 50% chance, it's hard to say, man, because we don't really know what they're coming with. And they just took their 2 heavy hitters right out of the picture for this year. So it's hard to say whether or not it would happen. I don't think like an Animal Crossing, if it does get announced, or a Pikmin are enough to be Game of the Years. Smash, if that gets announced, I don't think that's Game of the Year. And then you look at Kirby. No. There's no way a Kirby gets Game of the Year. It should get Trash Pile of the Year, honestly.
Wow.
Poor Kirby, man. What did Kirby do to you?
That's what I say every episode.
He exists.
Jesus Christ.
But Yoshi, I don't think is even strong enough to get like Game of the Year. Like,
no.
So you know what? I'd probably say less than 50% because I don't think it does get a nod, which is kind of weird to say. Unless they come up with something crazy that we're not expecting, I don't really see it happening.
Joe, what about you, man?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with this one and say over. And the reason being is maybe there's something out there that Nintendo's not announced that's actually coming in 2018, or with the hype of the Switch and with Pokemon Company working on Pokemon Switch, I'm still holding out. Maybe that does make it to 2018, and maybe that becomes the conversation. Or maybe they do something crazy with Fire Emblem this year, change it up, get people talking about that game to maybe get that up there. Year after year, Fire Emblem's been getting more and more conversation since Awakening. So I feel like if they make more changes for it to capture a broader audience, get the casuals in as well, and the people that are new to Switch, for some people it's their first Nintendo console, maybe that stands a chance as a nominee. Not saying it's going to win, but a nominee for Game of the Year.
Okay. Josh?
I actually think I'm going to be bold here.
Ooh.
I think Bobby shakes his head like, of course he is. I'm going to say there is a 100% chance that Nintendo will at least have a Game of the Year nominee, and I think it's going to be the retro game that we have not heard about. Whatever retro is doing, it's going to be. I think it's going to be holiday 2018. And I think that will be Game of the Year quality.
You know what?
Whatever it is.
Retro's like flying under the radar right now. Like that's the one that like nobody's even talking about. It's like, what was it, E3 last year or the year before? Everybody was like, "What's retro doing? What's retro doing?" And they just continue to not talk about it. So you know what? That's a strong possibility because the rumor is it's a new IP, and it could be something that just wows everybody because they do a hell of a job every time. So that's possible.
Well, look at it this way. The last game they made was in 2014. So that's been a while. Yeah. And also, because it's taking so long, that would suggest that this is a bigger project and it's not just another Donkey Kong or not something they've worked on before. We know they're probably not working on Metroid Prime 4, maybe just in like a supervising role. So I think that whatever they're doing is not small potatoes. It's something big and probably even maybe revolutionary for an old IP. Yeah. Maybe it's a totally new IP. So I think that will absolutely at least be worthy of Game of the Year nomination. And I also think, like you said, like Pokemon, I think the first time a Pokemon game can be played on your TV and it's like a legit Pokemon game, I think that could be pretty big as well for 2018, if that happens.
For me, I'm going to say under, just because of there's so much unknown for next year. I think after like the next Direct, we'll kind of get like a little more to what's coming next year, but I can't say yes just because like nothing, like Kirby's not going to win Game of the Year, Yoshi's not going to win Game of the Year, but so I'm just basing it off like what we know. Kirby's a fun game. Okay.
Okay. You keep telling yourself that.
All right, Joe. Joe, we're going to you, man. This game was mentioned earlier. 45% chance Pikmin 4 greets us in 2018.
Oof. Let's see. We've Nintendo's sort of blown their load this year. Let's see what we've got left in the bag. I'm gonna go over that there is a good chance that we see a Pikmin 4 in 2018. And if at the very least we get an announcement at around closer to E3. I don't think we hear anything in January. At least we get an announcement at E3 maybe, saying for the fall right before the big games come out possibly. I don't see them throwing that out there against all the big contenders of October, November. It seems like more and more of those games are coming earlier and earlier, so you want to get that out in like September, early October at the latest, maybe.
Yep. Okay. Josh?
So I don't know if you guys know this, but my favorite Nintendo franchise is Pikmin. I'm in love with Pikmin, and I feel tormented because Pikmin 4 was the first game announced for the NX. Mr. Miyamoto, this is the first game they talked about being developed for the next system, and we haven't even heard a peep about it since. I think this game is decently far in development. I absolutely believe that this will be a 2018 game. And I think it's going to come out sooner than we might think because Pikmin is a game about nature and it's kind of a like B- title for Nintendo. So like you were saying, you don't want to release it during the big holiday season because there's too much competition. So you release that in the summertime when there's not a lot of competition. And I think that's and even the game itself screams summertime, all the nature and stuff. So I really think this is potentially one we're going to hear about maybe at the January Direct. I think it could happen. Because that's happened with Pikmin 3. They showed a lot of it at the Direct. They did show it at E3 2012, I believe. But I think this is a game that's further in development than some people assume, simply because, like I said, it's the first Switch game that we heard about. How can it not really be far along? Yeah. So I think, I think definitely that's 2018. Or I'll be enraged bigger than I was with Bobby. You haven't seen my wrath yet. Tired of waiting.
Heads up, Reggie.
What about you, Bobby?
I think it's 100% chance we see it in 2018. I feel like Josh said, it was already talked about by Miyamoto. Also, there was a leak from Best Buy Canada just before E3 this year that it was called Pikmin World, or Pikmin Worlds.
That's right.
That was supposed to come out. It was supposed to be announced at E3, and people were supposed to be able to pre-order it that day of E3, and then the ad and flyer just disappeared, and nothing ever got announced. I feel like Nintendo, again, will probably announce it in the next couple of months, and hopefully we get a January Direct like is rumored, and then the game, I think, launches probably April, May, somewhere in there, but I think we definitely see it. It's not to mention, like, Miyamoto's talked about it numerous times. They even said, like, they told him specifically at E3, do not talk about Pikmin. Like, and he wanted to, but they told, like, PR said, he said, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I was told not to talk about it. So I think it's a lot further. A Pikmin game, I feel like, is like a 2-year process. It's not one of these massive games that takes, like, long years to develop. So I think that there's no reason why it's not done by now. So, yeah, I think it's seeing it.
I mean, we definitely know 100% that it's being developed. Mr. Miyamoto literally said, we're still working on it, but it's been pushed aside a little bit to work on bigger projects. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been confirmed that it exists. And that was a long time ago that he had said that. Yeah. So, 2018 is going to be a good year.
And he also specifically said that Hey Pikmin was not the Pikmin 4 game that he was talking about. So
thank God for that.
I was just about to ask. I was going to say, I mean, do you think part of that might have been Hey Pikmin? No. It also came out in July. Yeah. You're saying summer. That does seem to add up. Maybe it does come in summer.
Hey Pikmin's a bad word. You're going to get this video demonetized on YouTube. Those are naughty words. We don't say those two words together.
Yeah, I'm going to say over 45. Should be announced pretty soon, like you guys were saying. Yeah. Okay, Josh, we'll go to you, and this is kind of a loaded question. So we got Mega Man 11 was announced in like this weird direct. It was a cool trailer that it was announced in. 65% chance Mega Man 11 is a good game.
Oh, okay. Jeez. I feel like my life is on the line if I answer differently than what I will. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I think it actually looks really cool. I mean, I'm not the biggest Mega Man fan, but I think that game looks really awesome. The art style reminds me of Wario Land Shake It a little bit with the like hand-drawn look and everything. I think it looks great. I mean, not as good as Mighty Number 9, but how can you reach those highs? But still, it looks No, I think it's going to be really good. I think that will probably please fans. I don't think that will be an underwhelming game. I think it'll be cool.
Bobby, what do you think?
I think it's Mega Man, and the hardest part right now is going to be the transition from pixel art to the 2.5D platforming style. But I think with a big third party studio, they can make it happen, and it could be handled. I like the fact that they're using different styles, like of transitions into Mega Man. He looks a little different as he takes on different forms, as opposed to previous games where he just changed colors. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll do really well.
Joe, big Mega Man fan over there?
Said. I know, right? I don't know. My gosh, yeah, I think Bobby's on something with the going to change over from 8-bit to 2.5D with the original Mega Man series itself. I'm gonna say it's probably still gonna be Mega Man. I hope Inti Creates works on this title like they did. I think it was 9 and 10 that they worked on. Yeah. If they're on that project, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't trust anyone else with that series other than Inti. They do Mega Man right. They made people like Mighty Number 9 with Mighty Gunvolt Burst. I mean, they know what they're doing. Granted, they worked on Mighty Number 9, but they weren't part of the story or anything. They just developed the game. They followed Concept's direction. That was it. I say it's a good game, and that's not.
I gotta be that guy. You guys are making me that guy.
But you don't know what you're talking about. You like Kirby, man. Come on. You like Kirby? You like Kirby? No, wait a minute. Okay, because we're gonna transition. Josh, did you know that Patrick here loves Star Fox Zero? Thinks that Star Fox Zero is a phenomenal
wait a minute.
game?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. What?
Yeah. I'm gonna step away for a minute here, guys.
You do too. You do too.
Star Fox Zero.
I thought that it would be. Okay, hold on a second.
He just got here.
Hey, man.
I thought that finding the Holy Grail would be easier than finding someone who loved Star Fox Zero.
There you go. Wasn't that hard?
Okay. I didn't say I loved it.
Okay, but wait a minute. Hold on. No,
but you like it more than me, and I like Star Fox, and I don't like that game.
I do enjoy the game. I feel
like there needs to be an explanation here.
So, okay.
He just likes bad games. He loves bad games, man.
The first 20 times that I played that game, I was so disappointed because I was looking forward to it so much. And then I was like, this might be the sign of a bad game, but I had to force myself to play it. Once I started playing it, and once I started to get I got to look up and down constantly, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool,
Did you hear you saying?
I'm not going to win.
Are you listening to yourself? Forced yourself. So basically, we could just hold you down and just drop water on your forehead for hours on end, and eventually you're just gonna be like, "I like this. I enjoy this."
Well, okay. Here's the thing: the Wii U.
I can't defend you,
man. I'm not expecting anything. The Wii U is such a wacky console anyway, and I feel like that game, good or bad, from what you guys think, I think it utilized the gamepad pretty well, and I think that if more games were made for the system, we would have had a lot more wacky games.
Patrick,
look, the console's broken.
Just stop. Just move on.
Hold on.
Take the topic.
On the launch of the Wii U, Nintendo Land came out, and there's the Metroid Blast attraction. It is. And the Metroid Blast attraction, you control the ship somewhat like Star Fox, in a way. It gives you an idea as to how you can control a ship with motion. That is godlike compared to the controls in Star Fox Zero. Yeah. So, and even if the controls were normal in Star Fox Zero, I felt like, this is the most generic Star Fox experience ever. It's just literally... But I feel like I'm beating up on you at this point. It's okay. You can like what you like. I don't want to come off as a bully here.
No, I mean, they definitely need to...
Incredibly confused.
They need to reinvent the story a little bit. It's like reimagining 4 different...
Well, the levels, too. I wanted all new levels that were I've never seen this before. And it was just maybe 1 or 2 instances. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll forgive you, Pat.
But yeah, I'm going to have to go back and say that I don't have faith in this Mega Man game. It just looks... I mean, I know that 8-bit and 16-bit are kind of overused at this point, but I think that from what I've played in terms of Mega Man games, that's the only thing that works. Mighty Number 9, it's always going to be compared to that game just because art style and stuff, but I just don't have faith in this game. And what did I say? 65% chance? No, I'm going to go below. I mean, I'll try it. I'll get it, but it's gonna have to win me over a little bit. Who are we on
Patrick,
now?
you just don't like it because it's not another port. You don't like new games.
Yeah. Listen, move on from the game. We're at 45 minutes, man.
We are.
That's partially because of me and my long intro, but still.
Last one. Yeah, it was a reveal. All right, last one, real quick. 80% chance Smash 5 is Smash 5 and not Smash Deluxe. We'll start with Bobby on this one.
0%. It's going to be Smash Deluxe.
You think it's Deluxe?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
Deluxe.
Joe?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, you froze out there for a minute. Yeah, I think it's going to be a deluxe version. Granted, when did I almost said Melee. When did 4 come out now? It's been 2014, 2013?
No, like 2016, yeah.
Wow, that as recent as that, yeah, I got to say deluxe. There's no way we get like a new one right off the bat. With the amount of characters and the support that they gave to the Wii U version, and to let it just sit there and rot away like that, nah, they're gonna bring everything over.
Josh, what do you think, man?
I think Sakurai is a man of a lot of integrity. I think he takes his work very seriously, and I think overall, that project of Smash 4 was financially successful. It was quite financially successful, even on the Wii U and 3DS.
Yeah.
I think Sakurai will want to move on from it, and I think the next Smash actually will be new. I don't think it'll be a port. I think there will be some stuff ported over, like levels and stuff like that, but I think overall it will be packaged as this is Smash 5 and this isn't a port. So I guess I would say lower, right? You said 80% chance it's going to be. I think it's going to be considerably lower than that, just because I think that Sakurai is really close to his work and his projects, and I think he would want it to be something that's totally new. Because of all Nintendo's developers, he's one of them that definitely has always said, I don't want to just do something just to do it, just to put it out there, just to make more characters or something like that. So I think he would technically be opposed to the idea. I mean, I get this whole idea of like, man, that was a lot of work to have on the least popular Nintendo system ever. But still, it did sell well, and I think Sakurai will want fans to have something fresh and new with the next Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
I just don't think Sakurai's coming back for Smash. I think he's.
I think he will, but it'll be like 2020. I know Roger won't like hearing this, but I don't think we're hearing about Smash. I don't think Smash is anytime soon. I think we're going to hear about a new project from Sakurai before we even hear about Smash.
Yeah.
Do you think? Can I add on to that question? Do you think though, they announce a deluxe version and lead in with a, hey, we're working on a Smash 5, regardless of whether it's Sakurai or not?
I mean, that would be the best way to make the most money, so I'd say that's a definite possibility. I mean, I can see that. I mean, it's kind of easy, right? To just be like, oh, by the way, here's Smash Deluxe. But don't worry, we are doing a new Smash. So I can see that as being a really good business decision. That's the better way to do it. But I do think that it wouldn't be Smash 5. I don't think they'd be like, this is Smash 5 and it's a deluxe version. I think that they would confirm we're going to do something different in the future. I actually think the future of Smash is like a few years away, but I think they're going to have a smaller roster and they're going to take all the old characters and make them new again. Like Mario, as we know him in Smash, won't be the same. Yeah. And I think that'll be something that excites, it gives new life into the franchise and excites everyone. I think that's the new direction for it. But I do think that there is probably a possibility of a port, whether that's for the, I mean, you guys would love that. You guys.
That'll never get old.
Oh my god.
All right. So we're going to skip around a bit because I think that Bobby's topic is kind of more in line with what we're talking about in terms of like a timeline. So Bobby, why don't you start your topic up?
So I wanted, we just got the announcement that the DLC launched for Zelda, and I kind of wanted, because there's some people that didn't buy it yet, and they're not sure if they should get it yet. And I wanted to have that conversation. I'm not surprised, Josh. I wanted to get into that conversation of, do you feel like this is worth it? Should people jump on now if they haven't? What do you feel for the Zelda DLC? So, Joe, where are you at with this?
All right, so I haven't fully jumped on. I bought the DLC. I bought the season pass when it came out. Like I bought it for the fact that we're gonna get a story-based DLC. Yeah. I played about 30, 45 minutes of that first part of it, where you're going through the Great Plateau stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's more shrines right now. Am I gonna get story at some point? So I hope we get story right now. I'm a little like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
I don't want more of the same thing. I jumped in to get more story, and I don't seem to be getting that at the moment. So I'm a little on the fence right now about this DLC. But you get a cool bike out of it.
What about you, Patrick?
I mean, someone bought the DLC for me, so if someone didn't buy that for me, I don't think I would have bought it right like now. Like we were talking about this on Josh's live stream last night, and I was saying basically this is like a 200-300 hour game. Why there's no real rush to get more content out of this. I feel like this game is packed with stuff to do. But in terms of the value, I think that you're getting, it's kind of something for everyone. You're getting the cosmetic, costumes, the wacky like Nintendo Switch shirt, and you're also getting that story-based stuff. You're also getting the Trial of the Swords. So there's kind of something for everyone. I really don't see a rush to get it right now. Then again, I haven't played it yet. Like I did like an 80-hour playthrough without the DLC. I'm planning to go back to it, do a second playthrough with all the DLC. But if you're kind of on the fence, I would almost rather just buy a game over the DLC right now. I don't think there's a real rush to get it. That's kind of where I'm at.
I've been playing, like, I actually set Xenoblade aside and started playing it. And once you get past the Great Plateau stuff, Joe, yes, it opens up.
Yes.
There's a lot of story stuff. It is really, really good.
Just hate the fact that they threw the shrines right in your face right away.
Well, listen, it is more shrines. But the shrines are much more in depth than the original shrines. They actually feel more like dungeons. And there's a lot more puzzle solving going on. Like there's one particular shrine that I went through that like I go through, you go through the corridor and you go into another corridor, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, like this is more like a traditional Zelda dungeon.
Okay.
I mean, they're not. Don't get me wrong, they're not traditional Zelda dungeons by any stretch of imagination. They feel like shrines, but it's more like if you remember in the original, when you played the original quest, you would go through, and some of those ones were like with the arrow and you're shooting the candles and all that stuff. Like that was a longer shrine to do. That's the par that they are. It's a lot of thinking.
It's gotten more elaborate.
Yes, I spent like 40 minutes on a shrine last night trying to figure out the puzzle on it. Like,
wow,
it's more in depth, and it's just a lot more fun. I'm enjoying it. I think
that gives me hope.
I think that people that I know there's people that just plowed right through it and crushed it really quick. But I'm taking my time and I'm enjoying it and I'm having a good time. Like once you do the original Great Plateau, then you have to basically go to each of the champions areas to do more stuff in those areas. So so far so good. And I did unlock one story, and it was really good. It was a good payoff for that. So I think you'll be impressed. And Josh,
what do you think?
Gives me hope.
I have not purchased any of the DLC for the game. I think, for me, how many shrines are in the game, by the way, guys?
120 in the original.
120?
Yeah.
I've done maybe 20 of those shrines. Generally, just the way that I play the game, I kind of avoid the shrines because I'm like, no, I want to burn things and run around instead. That's work. I don't want to do the shrines. Using my head to figure out puzzles, I'll do that later. So I've only got around to maybe like 20 or 25. And I like them, usually when I play, I like them, but it's really the type of thing that it will take me like 3 or 4 years to beat all those shrines just at the pace I'm playing. So like saying, hey, want to buy more shrines to me is like, wow, I'm not even close to being done with the ones that I have. So I kind of wish the DLC was sort of not more expansive and more like, hey, this is stuff that's not even in the game. Nothing even close to this is in the game or something. I guess kind of like what would have excited me maybe is if they would have added to areas that were kind of barren on the map. Like, hey, look, there's this new outpost here and there's mini games and stuff you can play on it, or there's this side quest. Stuff like that would have excited me. I don't think it's bad DLC, but it's just not DLC that kind of caters to the way I've been experiencing the game. So and like the story, I wasn't blown away with in Breath of the Wild. So more story, I don't know. Maybe that'll make it better. I haven't beaten the game technically, by the way. I've got 3 of the Divine Beasts. So
the thing of it is if you don't beat the game, the DLC doesn't even work for you. So
that's like that lowers my incentive to want to buy it. It's like, I'm going to have to play the game for like 3 or 4 hours before I can even enjoy the thing I bought.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Eventually, in like a couple of years, maybe a year or something like that, I can see myself saying, all right, I've exhausted everything I can do in Breath of the Wild now. Now I'm going to look into it if I really want more. Yeah. But for now, I don't think it's bad. I just don't really feel an incentive to get it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I feel like that's how DLC should work. Like, you spend a long amount of time on an actual game at not a couple days or a weekend. You play it as long as you can. You do everything possible, and then, hey, if you want more of it, here's this awesome package that has all this other stuff in it. If you want to try it or not, that's how video games work.
DLC in single player games is a weird thing in a way to me because, like, with multiplayer games, I get it. So, like Mario Kart or Pikmin, the way they were adding DLC to those, it was like, I can play new challenge maps with my friends or new. That I get in a multiplayer, but for me with single player stuff, it's a little bit more of an interesting sort of weird territory than a multiplayer game, which is very obvious. I'm like, Pikmin, new challenges, boom, I want those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Less to think about, I guess, in a way with what you're getting.
Yeah.
So Bobby, can you access the second part or technically the first part of the DLC without beating the game, like the trials and stuff?
I believe so.
The trials of the sword.
Yeah, you're just talking about the second part. I'm talking about
the second pack. Yeah, the first pack, the sword, the Master Sword trials. That you can access, no problem. That's simple.
Okay.
That actually, what that does is like it makes the Master Sword stronger. So for that one, you have to have the Master Sword in order to be able to unlock that and play that. You don't have to beat Ganon in order to play that portion of it.
Okay.
I'm specifically talking about the second pack that came out. The one that came out at the Game Awards. I know people are pissed about the bike, but I kind of like the reason why I like the bike is that when they announced the motorcycle in Mario Kart, Aonuma was like really excited. Like he even said, like, I wish we would have thought of that and put it in a Zelda game. And when that showed up, I was like, oh my god, he took it and he put it in there. I
Hold
agree.
on a second.
Good.
Bobby,
yeah.
Are you saying you liked the bike because it was ported from Mario Kart 8?
Yes.
This just keeps going deeper and deeper.
Yes, I love the port job. Now, I think it's unique looking. I think we're going to see some really cool stuff come out with the bike. People doing tricks and stuff. Like, you'll see YouTube videos of people doing tricks. Like, I was talking about this earlier this morning where people, like, when they were doing, like, they make the boulder like an object that you could fly across the world with and stuff. Like, they would freeze the boulder, whack it a bunch of times, jump on it, and then shoot across the map. I think you'll see some crazy stuff, like some crazy tricks and stuff. So I'm not against it. As far as using it like as a serious thing, I don't think anybody's going to do that. Like, I wouldn't ride that. I don't even use the horses. I run across the maps. Like, I don't like the horses. I like to run across the map. So I won't see myself using the bike, but it's fine. It is what it is.
The reaction from Josh.
I don't listen. You gotta listen. You just gotta. You gotta know that Josh is gonna come with some.
Wait a minute, Bobby. You walk across. You walk across the whole map instead of hopping on a horse.
Yeah, I don't ride the horses.
You don't fast travel?
No, I'll fast travel. But I'm saying, like, if I have to get someplace that's a little bit of a distance and maybe I couldn't fast travel at the time, I would just run to that area. I wouldn't get on a horse. I didn't like the horses. Yeah. I didn't like the control of them. I felt like they were too... I hated when you go up in the mountains and the thing wouldn't move. It gets stuck up there. It's like, forget you.
It's a horse, Bobby. What do you want out of it?
I just jumped off and shot him with a couple arrows and was like, go, man.
Terrible.
Oh, my God.
All right. Let's go to Joe's topic.
All right. So, most of you guys might have heard Nvidia in China is going to be getting some HD remasters of some Nintendo games. I believe Mario Galaxy is one of them. I forget what the other one was, which is really interesting because we've seen Nintendo make these I don't even want to call them knockoff consoles because they're the ones that made them, but the IQ, that was like the controller, you connect it to there. Point I'm getting at is they're making Wii ports on an Nvidia Shield, which is like that handheld computer console. What does this mean for how we are going to get? How does this affect us in terms of what we're going to see for Virtual Console down the road? Are we going to get it? Are we only going to get Virtual Console in terms of like SNES, NES games, and we're just going to pay whatever Nintendo wants to charge us for remasters down the road without the Wii controls? I'll throw it to Bobby.
I don't think it affects us in any realm of possibility. This has nothing to do with us and all to do about China. They have these strict import rules. This thing won't, like, Nintendo cannot put a Switch out in China. They just won't let it happen. If you go back in history and you look at like the NES, the SNES, and all this stuff, they always had special versions of it with like built-in games in them or modded carts, like all these different things. They weren't allowed to put a Nintendo. Like, they never got the Super Famicom in Japan. They got some weird name. And it didn't even look like ours that we got. So, yeah. I think this is just more of the same. Nintendo is looking at it as, we have these huge things. These things are selling across, the world, and we're losing money over here. Why not let Nvidia go in? We'll throw some games on it, and maybe it can help. Because there is a partnership between Nintendo and Nvidia. If this helps Nvidia and also Nintendo gets some money out of it, it's a win-win. So I really don't think it's not foreshadowing at all in terms of the Virtual Console, what we get. I think the reason why we haven't gotten an announcement on the Virtual Console is they're not 100% sure what they're doing yet. I think they're still trying to figure that all out in terms of, do we give games away each month like PlayStation and Xbox do, and is it going to be a couple Virtual Console games? Is it going to be Netflix? Is it going to be like the old way? Like, what exactly are they working out? So, I just think this is, I don't think it has anything to do with our Virtual Console at all. So,
yeah. Josh?
Yeah, I think it's just Nintendo trying to make money in a territory where it's very difficult for them to make money. I think this is just kind of a smart way of doing it. Wasn't there? I think this is still on topic about the Virtual Console. I could have sworn there was an announcement that Nintendo said they were going to do kind of a Netflix-style thing for Virtual Console eventually. Or did I dream that? I could have swear that was a thing.
You listen to the Nintendo dads too much.
No, I think this was like on Kotaku or something. Like, this was posted in many things. And Nintendo was like,
It was one of the things that they're talking. It's a rumored thing that they're talking about. It's one of the ideas they're looking at moving towards, and they're not 100% sure which way they're going to go with it ultimately. Mm-hmm. It's still in negotiations, I guess, in their boardrooms of how they're going to do it.
Yeah, and as it stands from what I've seen from like the online program from Nintendo's website, which hasn't been updated since, they're still showing like the 3 different tiered pricings across, what duration you want to pay, and then a collection, they're calling it, of like maybe 3 games a month. Mm-hmm. And they gave you the example of like Dr. Mario and 2 other games that are going to be multiplayer online based, so they're going to specifically make it so that way you can play with other people online through Switch,
like leaderboards and stuff.
But that died quick because they did it with Mario Brothers, and it's like done. Like, they put out Mario Brothers with the whole thing, and it's like gone already. Like, not that the game's gone, but I figured there'd be a couple of games following it, and they didn't do anything.
Well, Joe was the only one who bought it, so I think that's why they kind of scrapped that.
That's true, too.
Yo, you know what? If you look at the... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I think it's just a money-making thing. Me, personally, I think that Virtual Console should be one of the last things on their mind right now. I think that there's still problems with the eShop, and I don't know. I think that they need more ports. I'm kidding. But I think that there's.
Well, that's why you should want the Virtual Console, because then they don't have to be a port. They can just put it on for a budget price.
Although the thing that is cool is, aren't they doing like Galaxy HD or like they're doing
Galaxy
some
HD was one of the ones on there.
That interests me.
Yeah.
I thought there was GameCube games on there as well, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm. There was, yes, yeah.
And because I remember saying,
I think that
I remember being like, China is getting. China is getting GameCube games before the rest of the world. That seemed really strange to me. I want GameCube games on the Virtual Console so bad. There's such a missed opportunity to make money there. If you go on eBay and you look to buy an old Mario Party GameCube game, or Mario Sunshine, or Metroid Prime, or any GameCube game mostly, they go for like $35 to $50. I think Melee on eBay is like $100 with the box. Yeah. It's insane. There's so much money they could be having. I mean, if you put a GameCube game out for like $25, $24.99, those would sell like crazy on the Switch eShop. So I think they need to kind of get it together.
I would go back and revisit Animal Crossing on GameCube. I think it's one of my favorites.
What? Bobby, you don't have that?
I have it.
Are you kidding me?
I have it. I just don't have it set up to play it.
On the go, that'd be pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like I could play it wherever I want.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to Bobby's nonsense of hating Super Mario Sunshine. No. He thought he would get away with that.
Did you give that a 10 out of 10? I'm just curious.
Sunshine?
Yeah.
I'd still give that a 10 out of 10. That game is godly.
That's what I don't get, man. But Mutant Mudds can't keep a 10 out of 10. What the hell?
No. That game has stayed fresh. So great.
Fresh. My God. Fresh in the trash. That's about it.
Bobby!
Easy. Okay.
Check the waveforms there. Lower the waveform there.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, so we have one last topic. Usually I go first, but this is kind of like wrapping up the whole year as a whole. So I wanted to know kind of some of your highs and lows, the good and the bad of 2017. We can do this two ways. We can go around with one bad and then go to one good, or we can just do one bad and one good.
Let me just simplify. The good is all the ports we got. The bad is all the trolling that Josh did. Done. We're good.
This is why he trolls.
I'll be back, guys.
So what do you want to do? You want to do 1-1 or?
No, we can do 1-1. Do a round. We'll do the bad first, and then we'll do the good.
Okay. We will start with Joe. Why don't you do a bad of course, the Nintendo Switch for 2017?
Yeah, the bad is we're at a point now where we are seeing the flood of shovelware showing up on the Switch over the last couple of months. From October on, it's been weird how all these indie games started coming out, and there's a lot of great ones, but then we're getting it flooded in with like, oh, what the heck is this game? Wait, what is this garbage? What is this hot trash, as Bobby would say?
Mobile games. Now I think this generation is the generation of mobile games coming to the Switch. That's kind of our version of shovelware. The Wii had some different version. This is the Switch's version.
Yeah.
Mobile.
And granted, I mean, there's been a couple of mobile games that are like, oh, okay, like Voez and Demo for me. I love rhythm games. It was like, oh, great, yes, I'll throw down on that. And for Bobby, that motocross game, I don't even know how to pronounce it.
The Gears Unlimited.
Gears Unlimited.
That's
there you go,
game.
that one.
Game. Yeah.
Like there's successful ones in that, but then there's just these piles of whatever. I'm gonna be nice.
Hot
I'm gonna be
trash
nice.
in the summer. Just saying.
Yeah. No.
There are some good ones though, surprisingly.
Yes.
Bobby, what's your bad thing of 2017?
I would say my bad thing is ukulele and
stop.
2K. No, seriously, man. Look,
okay.
I have a serious thing where you don't communicate what you're doing. You tell people you're working on a Wii U game of ukulele, and then you do not put it out with the other day and date with the other consoles, and then you don't tell nobody what's going on. Like, it's just like you forget about it. Like, you don't talk about it. Same thing with WWE 2K. Like, you're putting out this stuff, and it's like there's lack of communication. You tell people that it's going to be this time frame, and then it doesn't happen, and you don't say anything like, hey, we're having development issues. Like, if Nintendo delays a game, they tell you they're delaying a game. You don't like it, but you know what? At least you can respect it. Saying nothing at all, I feel like is it's bad, man. It's bad behavior on their parts, and I want nothing to do with it. I won't support it, and I won't buy any of it, man.
Yeah.
Josh, ukulele will not be bought by me.
Hold on, guys, stop the presses. There's a port coming to the Switch that Bobby's not buying. What? Oh my God! It's another Christmas miracle.
That's not technically a port, is it?
What?
No, ukulele this year.
Kind of.
Well, but it was supposed to come out. It got announced. It was supposed to come out at the same time.
I don't know. Well, listen, I actually agree with Bobby, as crazy as that sounds. This isn't my pick, though. But yeah, you're right. Well, the thing about not communicating with people is those people you're not communicating with are the reason you have a studio making a game.
Yeah.
Like with Nintendo, it's like we didn't give Nintendo money to make Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
They're paying for it themselves. We kind of paid for Yooka-Laylee, and we're not hearing. I've got a controversial pick, boys. You ready for this?
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
My worst of 2017, one of them would definitely be Sonic Mania. I have no clue. I don't get it. I don't understand why it's so great. I think the level design is infuriating and confusing. Going fast in a 2D platformer that is designed to go slow makes no sense to me. Sonic's kind of floaty. The levels, it's like, oh, you can replay the level 20 times. Yeah, and still not know what is going on. Because it all looks the same.
Bobby loves
it. And I'm constantly crashing into things, and it's like, how would I have known? How would I have known that spike was there? Oh, you got to play it again and again. But I didn't have fun the first time playing it, so why would I play it a second time? So I don't get it, and I really went into it thinking, hey, I'm going to like this. Patrick's looking mad at me right now.
No, I actually don't like Sonic.
Okay,
well, no, dude, I'm the only one here that understands.
Okay, I just didn't get it. That was one of the downloads that I was like, this is going to be really fun. This is probably going to be a Sonic game I enjoy, and I was just like, what the heck? Whoa!
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That would be a
because you're supposed to run. You're supposed to go fast, and you run 100 miles an hour. Like you say, you run into a wall of spikes, and it's like, the hell, dude? Like,
But then people will say, no, you're not supposed to go fast. You're supposed to take it slow. Oh, take it slow in a game that has boost pads everywhere? Yeah. And there's actual jump. Take it slow. I can't get over there unless I go fast up the loop-de-loop. So I have to get fast to get over there. And if I do that, then I'm going to hit the thing that's over there that I couldn't see.
Yeah.
So it was infuriating when I was playing. I was like, what the heck?
I'm with you.
I don't get it.
Sonic's one of those games, if you played it growing up, the original, 3M Sonic and Knuckles, then you get it. Otherwise, anyone that's just not listen, dude, I enjoy it. I enjoy that hot pile of trash, man.
I was a Mario man growing up. I was a good, solid kid growing up.
Hey, I was lucky enough to have the Genesis, and my brother had Super Nintendo, so we were able to.
I understand that your mom didn't love you as a child, and she gave you bad things.
Man, sheesh. I almost cursed. Sorry.
Curse, Joe. Yeah, I agree about Sonic, and then. I hate when you're going super fast and then there's this random thing that just stops you. It's like, I want it to keep going. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like Whiplash. There's just a block there. It's like, okay, I guess that's where I stop.
Nuances that they kept in there that I wish they.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of something that I'm just noticing now is the storage of the Switch, and it's like what are we 7-8 months in? I don't know. Storage is becoming a big problem, and I think 32 gigs, I think it's something that we all knew was going to be a problem, but we're just like, the Switch is out, it's whatever. But I think it's going to be a big problem when you're, because there's going to be a lot of third-party games coming, and these games aren't exactly small. I have NBA 2K, and that's 20-something gigs, and we were talking about the other day, if you download that digitally, it could be a brand new game that you can't put on a console with no games on it. And that's just ridiculous to me. You can't get a brand new game with an empty console. You can't put it on there. So I think storage is a big thing. SD cards are pretty cheap now. So, I mean, you can kind of take it for what it's worth.
I think you can get a 128 SD card for $30 right now. And that's not bad at all. So I think the issue where the bad is that Nintendo's allowing these third-party developers to go, here's a cartridge, but we're going to dump half the game on the system. It makes no sense. Either I'm playing... That's the whole beauty of a cartridge, is that I put it in and I play. This isn't a CD.
Well, they save money doing that.
Well, of course.
Developers.
Yeah. So essentially, it becomes a Nintendo issue because they need to pay or help finance this and go, look, we're going to lower the cost of the cartridges so you can afford to buy the bigger cartridge in order to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me why Nintendo's doing what they're doing in this whole realm of things. You're making money off the games. Get them out there. But make it so you don't... I don't have an issue with a 32 gig because Nintendo games are super small. And they don't take up a lot of memory. Now that we're getting third-party developers coming in, it becomes a whole different thing. And I feel like that's where the issue lies, is between the third-party developers and Nintendo, they need to come up with a solution to not beat up people. Because think about it, like, if you're a kid and you get a Switch, you know, think about it, Switch is $300, right? So your parents buy you a $300 gift, they're probably buying you 1 or 2 games. If grandmom and grandpa give you eShop cards or give you whatever, and you go on to go buy a game and it won't fit, that's where you're going to run into frustration. So yeah. I think that's where, you know, Nintendo has to work that out a little better.
Yeah. And then the whole thing, even if you're buying physical, like I know Resident Evil, one of the games comes on it, and then the other one you have to download. Same thing with Bayonetta. So it's kind of like
Bayonetta's going to be that way.
It's still a little frustrating because I try to buy physical just to save on a little bit of space and stuff, but I don't know. That's just one thing for me. Let's start with Josh. A good thing, Josh.
Good.
Oh, I'm always so negative and evil, so how could I possibly say something good?
We need to give
Cut the words right out of your mouth, Bobby. Well, can I this might be cheating. This is a little bit cheating, but I'm going to include 2 games in one for this, okay? Because to me, it's a symbol. Yeah. It's a symbol of hope. Zelda and Mario for the Switch are some of the greatest versions in that franchise, which is saying a lot because of how many games there are there. So for me, I mean, I ranted and raved for like 5 years now that I wanted a real 3D Mario game. Like I want to be able to get high on top of somewhere and look down on this whole big playground. And I got just that with the newest Mario game. With Zelda, I was getting a little bit bored. I wanted something drastically different, and they delivered big time on that. So the 2 big icons of Nintendo are absolutely phenomenal on the Switch. I mean, they are really delivering what I could have ever wanted. So just to think that in 1 year I got what I wanted from Zelda and Mario is really, really, really cool. And I hope that that trend continues. There's still a few more franchises that could use that TLC and fixing up. Paper Mario, Mario Party. But to see that there are definite strides towards being smart with your crazy decisions as a developer, that makes me excited, because it's really easy to just come up with some crazy idea. It's like, hey, look, this is totally new, but it's like really bad, like, you know, Paper Mario. But Zelda and Mario are new, but at the same time, everything we've wanted out of a 3D Mario or out of a big Zelda adventure. So I think that's really exciting. I love that.
Yeah. And it's exciting to think about what Metroid, Pokemon, and even Bayonetta it's going to be like, because it seems like the major games are going all out. So it's pretty exciting to look forward to those. Joe, what about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, Josh took the words right out of my mouth with that one, with Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. So to think of anything else, I mean, we got a revitalization of the Warriors franchise with Fire Emblem Warriors. That was pretty damn awesome. The fact that it was, you know, a week before Mario Odyssey kind of sucked. But looking at the bright side, that game was the perfect blend of the Warrior series and Fire Emblem in terms of gaming mechanics. That's how a Warriors series should be going forward. Like, I would buy a new Warriors game that isn't Fire Emblem if they continue it. And the fact that we're still getting more story stuff down the road with the season pass and all that stuff, I'm looking forward to it. That was sort of my happy surprise of this year for the Switch.
Awesome. And Bobby, what about you, man?
I think we're in the time right now where I think we'll look back and we'll go, this is Nintendo that listened for once. There's a lot of times where they just march to the beat of their own drum and they don't listen to anybody. And I think they went into the Wii U very egotistical, and it slapped them right in the face and it grounded them into reality. I was a supporter of the Wii U. I had a 3DS. I lived in the Nintendo echo chamber. Essentially, for me, with the Wii U and the 3DS, I was content, but I didn't realize what it was like to really have full support for a Nintendo console. Like, I grew up on the NES and the SNES, and that was probably the last time Nintendo truly had full support and the amount of games hitting that they are right now. You look at 2017, and this is a year that Nintendo just went back to the drawing board and was like, what did we do wrong? We need to fix it. And they addressed everything. Like, you look at certain things, like when the Wii U or when the Switch came out, people were complaining, like, you can't use wireless headsets, you can't use USB headsets. Boom, they fixed it. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like every time we get a patch, they do all these things that people are complaining about. And it's just really amazing to see Nintendo sit back, listen to the critiques, pivot, and fix things. Like people were complaining about the online, and they stopped and were like, you know what, we're not going to rush it out at the end of the year. It was supposed to be out by now. We're not going to rush it out. We're going to put a pin in it. 2018 will hit it. We'll look at it in 2018. It's just everything they've done across the board, to me, has been really, really good. Like, the biggest issue for the Wii U was the gap of games. It took, once a month we got a new exclusive game for the Switch. Sometimes ports, most times not. But like when you look at it, Zelda, you got Mario Kart 8, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Rabbids, Fire Emblem Warriors, Odyssey. Like, it just continued month after month after month. We got these big titles, and we're at a point now where, like, there are so many games hitting every single week. Last week, 17 games hit. It's like it's insane, the amount of games that are hitting. It's a good thing to be a fan right now because you're getting flooded with the market with games. So I think overall, just the big picture of 2017 of Nintendo as a whole, back on top, doing well. It's really a good story.
Yeah, you kind of took one of mine. Just the amount of games that are out there. I mean, if you didn't like ARMS, you would just have to wait like another month for a different game. Whereas I remember the Wii U, there was months that went by and we were looking forward to like Lego City Undercover. Like, it was bad. Yeah. There was months without any games, and it's just like, it's nice to see that, and you kind of wonder if like they're kind of setting themselves up for failure for next year, but I don't think that's the case because we're already getting so many games. I think today the Street Fighter collection was announced physically and coming out. So there are a lot of games, even though you might not like them, there are some like right around the corner that will come out pretty soon. The other thing that I had to say is the amount of indie games.
Oh, God.
I've always been a small supporter of indies, but like the Switch has pretty much forced me to at least discover and like find new games. I just like going on the eShop and just looking through all the games, even though I think that they need to kind of fix that menu up a little bit. But yeah, just the amount of games. Like there are games for everyone. Rhythm games, like first person, like it's pretty incredible just the amount of games. Like, not saying they're all good, but just the variety that's out there. So I think that that's a big plus for this year. So that is all of our topics today. It was a nice surprise having Josh on. What'd you think, man?
I enjoyed talking to two of you. No, I'm just kidding.
Joe, why would you attack Joe like that? Like, the guy didn't
I don't know.
to you. Like, come on.
I just sit in a corner and smile.
Yeah, come
on. No, I had a blast talking with you boys. It was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for surprising us with your presence.
I like it. I'm glad that I'm assuming that Josh and I will continue to talk after this.
We're getting married after this, Bobby.
That's okay.
There's steps to
Mommy and Daddy are back.
Tony might have a problem, but
my license. I'll marry you too.
Oh, good God! I'm enjoying this. This was a nice surprise. This was fun. I was like, I'm looking, I'm like, why the hell is Josh calling me? Like, what is going on right now? And giggles over there, just he's loving every second of it.
I'm bad at keeping secrets, so I'm proud of myself.
Oh wait, so when I called Bobby the first time, was he like, did he verbally say Josh is calling me?
No, because he said to me that he was going to have the person contact me. He wouldn't tell me who it was. He's like, you got to make a new overlay. And I'm like, well, tell me the name so I can make I can't make an overlay with no name on there. And he's like, I can't tell you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to make the overlay. So then we start showing, can you make the overlay? I'm like, no. So then he's like, well, they're going to come in like midway in or something. I'm like, it could turn the recorder off. Like, if they just pop in, it could turn the recorder off. I got to know what's going on. So then he's like, well, he's going to contact you. And I was like, okay. Then all of a sudden I see a phone call. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to
So God. It was a good surprise.
It was a good surprise.
So before we sign off, why don't you guys sign off? Bobby, where can they find you, man?
Nintendo Gurus on Twitter, Instagram, youtube.com/Nintendo Guru. That is where I'm at.
Joe, what about you?
at Joe After Work for everything.
Cool. Josh, any plans coming up?
We've got a lot of Christmas stuff coming up. I got a Pikmin Christmas special that I've been working on for a while. It's pretty crazy. And just doing a lot of Christmas stuff over at Nintendo Beyond on YouTube.
Awesome. And of course, you can find me right here on NintenTalk, also on Twitter and now Instagram. So thank you guys very much, and we will see you next week.
It looks like Santa Claus threw up in Josh's room.
You should see my house, my room. What do you mean? This continues on.
Yeah, I know. Tony told me. I know. She's like, I love Josh's house. Oh my god, so festive. I'm like, oh my god, good Lord, please.